Hi, everyone. I'm going to talk to you about careers in science promotion. Maybe there's some overlap with what people have said earlier today in other sessions, but maybe not. So I work at IndiaBioscience, which is based in NCBS. We're here to talk about alternate careers in science and for people who've done science. But what is an alternate career? So the American Society for Cell Biology came up with this infographic, I think, in the past year. And they tracked 86,000 or more PhDs in biology, all the way till when they got placed in jobs. And if you look at the stats, it looks like very few people end up in academia. So when you talk about alternate careers in science, is that just academia now? So maybe we need to kind of switch, make a switch in our heads when we talk about what is alternate, because it does have that slur. When I talk about promotion, I'm going to be kind of general and talk about promotion in the large kind of sense. Promotion is not just promoting science itself, but also meaning directly through giving funds or anything, but also in the larger generic sense. And there are a lot of career opportunities out there today. I'll tell you a little about IndiaBioscience and what we do. IndiaBioscience is not yet a formal organization, but should be soon. We were born out of networking meetings, the first of which was conducted over 7 years ago. And it was felt that there was need for an organization that would promote changes in the field of the life sciences across India, that the field was poised to grow, but there was a lot that needed to be done in several ways. And so we want to try and effect long-term change in the culture and the practice of the field. And to do this, we engage with academia, industry, and government at various levels. We're based out of this campus, but we work across India. Just to tell you a little bit about who we are, we're kind of a motley crew of people who have all taken the kind of decision, step outside of mainstream academia. Harini Bharat, she's in the audience. She's our manager for science communication. She's a physicist and now pursues science writing. Deepthi comes from a biotech background, and her main interest is management and administration. I'm an ecologist, and I'm interested in a huge bunch of things, including science outreach. Arnab was working with us for 6 months. Again, he's from a physics background, and his focus was to do something with education and communication. Shweta, who's in the audience, will tell you a little more about herself when she's talking. Atula, who was at IndiaBioscience last year, is also a biologist, but is now a science writer based out of New York. Shilpi Sarkar is a social scientist, and she's now working with us as a HR trainer. We also work with a large number of volunteers, consultants, and collaborators. So all of these people have made this choice and have kind of found their own jobs in some way. What we do at IndiaBioscience is we try to change the practice of how education is done in India. And this we're kind of making a start by offering workshops that will enhance skills of researchers. Eventually, we want to get to teachers, but that's a few years away. We try to change how research is done. We've done that kind of effectively for the past few years by affecting recruitment and by increasing networking among scientists and between scientists and other agencies and bodies. We're an online resource for things like jobs, grants, events. And we're starting to collect data on a few aspects of how academia or science, mostly biology, works in India. For example, we've started some work on the postdoc scenario in India. And we do a lot of science communication where we try and talk about what science is done in India and try to cover it on our website. So I was asked to come here and give a talk about options, tell some stories, and maybe a little bit of advice. How do people go about doing these things? So I'd like to say that, I mean, your interests really matter. And I think, yes, you must be practical and all that, but really, if you are looking to make a switch, try to see what interests you. Because there's actually a lot of options out there. They might be easy to find, they might not be easy to find. There might be centers set within academic institutions like IndiaBioscience or the Homi Bhabha Center for Science Education, where there are a lot of people that come from science backgrounds doing things that are allied to science, that are very crucial to science, but are not researchers themselves. So the Homi Bhabha Center does a lot of teacher education, popularization of science, conducts a number of events, and a large number of these people are from science backgrounds. or you could work with other kind of centers. Again, all of these places are filled with people that know science and do science, that can design science for particular needs. This is something that we are very interested in at India Bioscience, working with museums and science galleries. And this is something that maybe everyone's been to at some point of time when they were children. And if you've been to science museums in India and abroad, you know the difference. But there's a lot of opportunity out there if your bent of mind is working with some kind of outlet that showcases science. And they do need people who are from science backgrounds to design good montages or even activities. But you might be interested in something else entirely, right? You might have an interest that veers towards illustration or design. And I'm just going to tell you examples of people that have taken this step and have done something outside of science. So Piyush did, he's a geographer, and he set up a company called Hand Design with a couple of artists and designers, and they work with scientists to produce a lot of material for science, though they don't do science themselves. There's examples of, these are offbeat careers that are not very well known. Careers like photography are today really popular in India. But if you want to be an illustrator, well, there are very few people out there who actually go out and take this step and do it. But some people are, India really needs illustrators. We use a lot of people from China and other countries. But you ask, where are these jobs? It's very well to talk about examples and case studies, and how does one find these jobs? Are they listed on some website? And where do I go to find them, or who do I talk to? And the best thing I would like to say is that you make a pitch. You figure out what you want to do and how you can do this, and take your idea to someone. And there are examples of people who have made this work, and I'd like to give you 2 examples. So Gubi Labs, very close to home, based out of IISc and out of Gubi in Karnataka. They do a whole bunch of things. They do research. They do a lot of publication, both of some research publications as well as a lot of books, guidebooks, and outreach material. They also do things like developing apps. They do a lot of GIS-based work. So it's basically what interests this group of people at Gubi Labs. They spoke to IISc. A lot of them were alma maters from IISc. They spoke to the institute, got themselves some space there, and are now working to give something back to the institute by way of doing a lot of media and PR work for them. So in a sense, this is someone who went and pitched his idea, or a couple of people who pitched their ideas to this institute that they thought they want to continue to work with, and made something happen. And I also want to talk about this guy, Karthik Ramaswamy, someone we're working with recently. And he'll be the story of the day, and then I'll kind of wind down. So Karthik he did his postdoc in the US, and then he got a job as an instructor. And through his PhD, he's an ecologist by training. He realized he didn't really like research, but he really liked to teach. And so he really liked his job as an instructor in the US, but he wanted to move back to India. He came down to India one summer, went and met Dr. Balram at IISc and told him, look, I want to come back. I want to do something here. And I want to do something with science communication, maybe current science, and maybe something else. So they got talking. And what they arrived at was that Karthik would teach a course on writing in IISc. And that there was no place in IISc that he could sit. But because he was a biologist, he's affiliated to the biology department. And because there was no development wing, career development wing in IISc, he sits in the archives department. So he does a little bit of archiving. But now they have a team of 3-4 people. They put out a newsletter. They teach a course every year or every semester. And hopefully this will be something that will work out well for him. So I just wanted to say that you might think you want to do something, and there's no opportunity out there to do it. But maybe you just have to make that step yourself. But you'll say, well, what if I like something really bizarre, like cooking? How do I fit that in? Well, start something like Data Cuisine, which is an initiative where a group of people, again, conduct workshops and teach people cooking, but they teach them about the data behind the food. So where does the food come from? It's all about the data. And it's got rigorous scientific process behind it, including hardcore methodology, results, and presentation, I guess, in some way. So I'm happy to take questions, and India Bioscience is here if you want to come and talk to any of us about anything. Thanks.